students, and welcome to your Flip Math lesson. Today we are going to be working on fractions on a number line with mixed numbers and improper fractions. The one thing I want you to realize is that we need to be able to do this in various forms. So what you see here is that I have a number line. On my number line is divided into three sections. Here is section 1, section 2, and section 3. So it's divided into three equal parts if I were drawing it correctly. And in those three equal parts, I can see that my first fraction that I have is 1/3. My second fraction is 2/3. What do you think my third fraction would be right here? If you said 3/3, you would be correct because that's the whole. 3/3 is the same value as 1 whole. 3/3 equals 1 whole. Anytime you have the numerator and the denominator as the same number, it equals 1 whole. So now let's use that to look at how we can find equivalent fractions on a number line. You'll see that I have my number line that I have at the very beginning, the 1/3 and the 2/3. Below that, you will see that I have another number line, and my number line is divided into 6 equal parts. Let's look at those parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that lets me know that my denominator is 6. And I labeled each point on my number line as 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, and 5, 6. Now, I can use these two number lines to find equivalent fractions. If I'm looking at my number line, I can see that 2/3 is on the same point on my number line as what fraction? If you said 4/6, you would be correct. They are at the same point on the number line, so those two fractions would be equivalent fractions. Now, let's look at this again. I want you to write in your math journal another set of equivalent fractions that you can see on these two number lines. Label it number 1, flipped math homework. Number 1, you are writing down 2 equivalent fractions that you see besides 2/3 and 4/6. It will be checked by your math teacher. So just like we can use the number line to determine equivalent fractions, we can also use it to determine the difference and find equivalent fractions between improper fractions and mixed numbers. First, we need to make sure we have an understanding of these two words. An improper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator. For example, I might have 8/3. My numerator is definitely larger than my denominator of 3. So this would be an example of an improper fraction. Well, a mixed number is a mixed number because it has a whole number and a fraction. You should be writing these notes down in your math journal. So a mixed number, an example of a mixed number would be a number like 2 and 4/5. This is my whole number. The whole number is 2, and my fractional piece is 4/5. So if I'm looking at this number line, I can label it with fractions and improper and mixed numbers. So we're going to take it step by step. So first I'm going to look between 0 and 1. Remember, I'm counting how many hops there are. I've got 1, 2, 3. You will see that I have labeled them 1/3, 2/3, and then that would be 3/3 or 1 whole. Now, to go to my next hops, I still know that those are divided into thirds, but since I cross over that 1, I have to take it with me. So now this would be 1 whole, 1 and 1/3. This would be 1 whole and 2/3. So now I have just added mixed numbers to my number line. So you will see I've just taken a portion of the number line that we looked at previously, and I have labeled the mixed numbers. We can also use these mixed numbers to find equivalent fractions. If I were to continue my number line, the improper fraction for the mixed number 1 and 1/3 would be 4/3, and the improper fraction for 1 and 2/3 would be, 5/3. This is a 5. Let's look at an example that we can also draw out. Let's look at a visual representation. What you will see here is I have 3 rectangles. My rectangles are divided into thirds because they each have 3 equal pieces. Well, I can write this as a mixed number and an improper fraction. To write it as a mixed number, I look for how many pieces are completely shaded in. So if I'm looking, I can see that I have 1, 2, 3. That's one whole. 1, 2, 3. That's 2 whole numbers. So 2 would be my whole number. And I'm going to look at the remaining one right here, where the whole thing is not shaded. I'm going to write the fractional piece of that drawing. So that would be 2 and 1/3. Now, if I wanted to write the improper fraction that would be equivalent or have the same value, what I would need to do this time is I would need to count how many total shaded pieces there are. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 that are shaded all together, but those 7 pieces are divided into thirds. So my denominator is going to stay the same. So my improper fraction would be 7/3, but the equivalent mixed number would be 2 and 1/3. Now I'm going to give you one to work on your own. You will need to label this as number 2 in your math journal. So if you look at my drawing, your task is to write down the improper fraction as number 2 for the drawing above, and to also write down the mixed number. These 2 problems will be checked by your teacher at the beginning of your math lesson when we return to school. Now, there is a chance that we may not be in school tomorrow. Make sure that you are checking Edmodo to check for any other flipped math that may be posted. There may be another flipped math lesson posted tomorrow at 4:30 for you to complete. So check back. Enjoy your evening.
Boys and girls, as you can hear, this video was recorded a while ago. We do have school tomorrow, so please be prepared with your homework in your homework journals, your notebooks, or on a sheet of notebook paper, and we will see you tomorrow at school on Wednesday, February 28th. Happy solving and have a good night.